Hello, welcome back to Breakfast Centre. It's now time for us to review the newspaper headlines, and join us today to review the headlines is Head of Research and Monitoring at News Central, Mr. Abdulateef Ahmed. Warm welcome to you, Abdulateef Ahmed, and thank you for gracing us on this special Friday.
Thank you for having me.
I must say, of all the analysts that we've had, it's not because you're in-house. You're one of the greatest.
Thank you.
If not the greatest.
Thank you.
Again, can I mention that this thing that he just said to you, he has said it to every single analyst that has come on the show this week.
Today is a new day.
So
Today you are special.
so if he greets you good morning, go outside and check.
And check if it's really morning or so.
It might be midnight.
Oh, Chim.
Welcome. So what paper are we starting with today?
Okay, let's start with this Nigeria newspaper. On front page of this Nigeria, NNPC refineries lose 500 million naira monthly, says Ojulari. GCO 6 foreign expertise says attacks, sack plots won't derail reforms. Wike tasks G7 states on cross-border crime. Mokwa flood, Niger shuts down IDP camps over security concerns. NEC endorses renewed hope economic plan to fast-track $1 trillion economy. Nigeria battles triple burden of malnutrition, according to the federal government. So, okay, maybe we'll...
Quite a lot to
too many to unpack there.
But let's start with the NNPC refineries losing 500 million naira monthly. That's bleeding. It's such a serious amount of money. And at the same time, the federal government is looking at ways of, price of passports, for example, the 32-page passports has been said to go up to 100,000 when you still have leakages like this. What's your reaction to this headline by the NNPC?
So for me, most of the time, government talks big, and sometimes we do not see it translate into action. When you say you lose 50 million naira on
500 million.
500 million on a monthly basis, the question is, what are the leakages? How are you cleaning up the space? What are you doing to ensure that these leakages do not occur? Who are those responsible for this amount of leakage? Because if you are losing 500 million on a monthly basis, what are you making? These refineries are moribund refineries. What is the government doing essentially to ensure that these refineries are back on track? We just hear a lot of promises every now and then. It is shut down today. Tomorrow it is refining 1 liter of PMS. When exactly are we going to to be over with all of these things? But it boils down to the fact that it is clear that government cannot run these establishments. It cannot run business because they always have a way to go back into something where they can dip their hands into. Give it to private firms and let them run these things efficiently.
Okay, let's also see here, another one would be Nigeria battles triple burden of malnutrition, federal government says. So it feels like in a nation where they will say a huge portion of the population is multidimensionally poor across board. Now looking at food, the burden of malnutrition, how can people afford to get good nutrition when they can't even afford the basic necessities, food, shelter, clothing?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Exactly.
Yeah, so some of these problems come from the fact that we do not see that there's a lot of burden, forex burden on us importing food. And the reason why we are importing food is because we have a nation that is still fixated to the old way of doing things. We cannot be farming in the ways that our great-grandfathers in the 1900s are farming. We have to scale up. We have to apply technology. We have to do things. Exactly. Earlier I was even joking with someone. I said we have about how many? 52,000 prisoners. And I was joking. I said we could have these people as farmhands.
you don't even need prisoners. Just look at the Lekki-Epe corridor and those guys that are begging for the street urchins,
exactly.
the vagrants.
You can actually give them a lease to life. So what is happening essentially is that we keep complaining about malnutrition, about food shortages, about the high price of food, but we do not do anything concrete to ensure that we mitigate these factors. What do you make of a country that imports eggs to the tune of billions, or I think about 9 or 10 billion?
Eggs?
Eggs.
Meanwhile, there's kukuruku everywhere in Lagos.
But it doesn't meet the demand, considering the number of pastries, confectionery, bread, and all of that we make or we consume, in the country, we consume a lot of eggs. We can't even make up for the number of eggs we consume, let alone poultry, let alone livestock. A lot that we import. So malnutrition is happening because, a lot of people are, below the poverty line. They do not have anything to fall back at, and government is not doing much to, reduce, enlighten them. Because sometimes people are malnourished or suffer malnutrition because they do not know the options that are available to them. The fact that you are below the poverty line does not mean that you cannot access some, crops or plants, or will I say food choices that would help you, mitigate nutritional challenges.
But isn't it ironic that a country that boasts of so much arable land that sometimes you don't even need fertilizer, we're abundantly blessed in this country, will be complaining of malnutrition and lack of food, insecurity for its citizens?
Yeah, so the problem is not because we do not have arable land. The problem is we cannot meet the demand. If you were to compare the amount of food we consume versus how long it will take for what you plant to germinate, and then you store it up, and then you are able to sell it.
Loss,
exactly.
Dealing with that.
So we need technology, we need systems that can save up the post-harvest losses.
We started working towards that direction?
In some ways. So for example, we made a lot of noise about ranching cattle during the past administration,
Livestock,
the NLPT scheme. But now we have one coming up in Kano, another one in Plateau State, where cattle is ranched, and we also have some exchange program between government and is it Holland? They will give us some species of milk producing cattle that will give us more volume in terms of
that's the one I want to hit. Hollandaise cow.
I can see that. But another issue, as we're talking about the challenges with malnutrition, I want us to quickly touch on Niger, because Niger, we're hearing that they've shut down the IDP camps over security concerns, and these IDP camps were set up because of the displacement caused by the Mokwa floods. Now, linking that again to the problem with malnutrition, or problem of malnutrition, a number of these people, where do they go to? What do we expect?
So that is the thing. These people who are going to leave the IDP camps will constitute nuisance to the communities they will go, because they cannot sleep, on the ground. They have to look for places where they will.
What alternatives has the government provided for them?
So that is it. You cannot take people out of the IDP camps without alternatives. There has to be some alternatives in some ways, because if you don't do that, there will be heightened cases of diseases. Children will be exposed to elements of the weather. You will have cases of probably abuse, because now you have women exposed, children, female girls, girls exposed to people they would ordinarily not be exposed to, so they are not protected. So you have to keep them, protected.
I'm hearing that they were compensated, that about 85% of them had been compensated by the government, and that apparently the reason they decided to shut it down was because the residents within that community were complaining that a huge percentage of the people that were claiming to be IDPs were not actually IDPs displaced from Mokwa flood, but people who were just constituting nuisance to the community themselves.
So that's another problem. Sometimes you're trying to create an intervention from government, and people abuse it, and then it's all messed up.
I mean, it just goes to show the level of poverty and desperation.
That people will look for creative ways
to even want to go to an IDP camp to, get a few benefits.
Just the same way we complain about people in government spending a lot of money, in quotes, on people who are in the prisons. So there are people who commit crimes because they want to end up in the prisons where they can get free food.
And there are some people who are using places.
Shelter, food, and all that. And probably protected.
Because they have their friends.
Yes, and probably protected from street urchins. There are people who are so vulnerable that they don't want to go into crime, but they know that their existence in itself is a threat to some other people. Like, they could get robbed. They are poor in the first place. They could get mugged or robbed. So they would rather commit some crime and then end up in police custody or in the cell, anywhere where they will.
But not Nigeria, Sha.
In Nigeria, it's happening. That's why have you compared the number of people?
Kirikiri.
Yes, so the numbers are rising. I looked at the number, I think in January it's around 51,000. By June, it's 53,000. Why do you have more people
if you look at that prison population vis-a-vis our population in general, it's very minuscule.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
And then there's some people who are
and we also need to invest
in.
We need to make them more productive.
That is my concern.
Prisons We need
Rehabilitation
communities
centers.
and rehabilitation centers
Yeah.
for vagrants, for people that have committed, and they should live in dignity.
Yeah, so that's why we have postal homes in some cases. But again,
Just
you realize.
before we move away from.
No, I don't want us to move away because I wanted to ask.
from this
Story. No, this same story.
Okay.
I wanted to ask.
So you have postal homes, but the problem is sometimes rehabilitation is not holistic. People go into prisons and then
Or
when they
even
come
get
out,
worse.
Yeah, so they come out as damaged people, and ordinarily those places should be correctional facilities where people go and become a better person.
Just to add, of the various reasons that people would either go to prison because they want food, shelter, clothing, or to these IDP camps pretending to be IDP, internally displaced persons. I'm seeing here that a resident, Yusuf Issa, alleged that some men and women were using the camp for immoral activities. Some men were using the camp as a place where they bring women in the night and sleep and leave in the morning.
So that's a given.
I mean, even
Because
in the
there's
midst
no
of flooding and disaster.
In the midst of hardship.
So that is something that poor people are very proficient at. No other sports. Did you see? So I saw something that was published not too long ago. The growth rate in sub-Saharan Africa is on the high. So when people do not have any other things to do,
Hobbies.
they just
Hobbies.
become sports people in the.
I
in
mean,
the
just to quote one of our former colleagues here, the great Nelly Kalu, she said, a poor Nigerian man is a dangerous sex machine.
And I agree with that. I quite agree
Because he
with
had
that.
nothing else.
In true words and in terms of facts, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given.
There's so many conversations around
they
here.
say that idle minds the devil's workshop. That's what people say. So when one is idle, what else can he do?
They are
If
looking
it's
to
not
fill in the gap.
productive, that's exactly what you'd see.
Okay,
Anyway, let's
you
move
wanted
on
to take another story on the same paper?
NEC endorses renewed hope economic plan to fast track to 1 trillion economy. We're very big on numbers. You know, we're always boasting about IGR, but it's not. We're not talking about the fundamentals. Human capital development.
Yes.
The human development indices that really matter and the quality of life of human beings. But before you touch that, let's look at the picture and the headlines. And it's something that's been bothering me for a long time. I don't know if it's a handover of
The photo on the front
military, the
page.
photo on the front page. So they saw Mr. President. Before the president leaves the country, they also do this.
What is that?
They
Escorts.
see him off. Escorts.
See him off. Okay, okay. I see that.
Can we have the? Yes, it's
Okay.
up on the screen.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
and you have there the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, Deputy Speaker of the House, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. You have an array of ministers, and of course the commander of the Brigade of Guards, and everybody will be there. And then it comes back, and they do the same thing.
So you
These
see-
are residents of Abuja.
Yeah.
They have portfolios. They have things that they are doing, even in their private life. I mean, it's a night picture.
So-
Chelsea might be playing Champions League football at that time.
I
but Mr.
agree.
President
They
is
could be
back,
with
you
their
have to go.
families. Yeah, they could be
so
with their families at
where
that time.
did we start? And I saw a picture of Cyril Ramaphosa. He came back from a trip abroad. President of South Africa, the retinue of aides, maybe 2 or 3 people, security.
So thank you.
And he went about his business.
Thank you. So the first thing you will understand about a lot of political appointees in Nigeria is that they do not understand the value of time. So when
The
they-
NSA too was there.
yes, you do not need more than 3 or 4 persons.
I disagree.
You do not need, there's no ceremony. The president is traveling. What's the big deal about it? Let him go. And then when he returns, receive him. 2 or 3 persons can receive him. But you see, we love a lot of eye service. We want to prove that, yes, I'm in your good books. I believe in you. I
All of
trust
this
you.
is
You don't
giving
do
Daddy
that.
Oyoyo vibes.
I know what I wanted to say. I have
Is this your
a,
daddy? You want to,
I have a friend who says that when her dad comes back from work, they would all go out to welcome daddy back home. Of course, daddy has been working hard all day, so everybody
To
will go out
provide for the
to welcome
family.
daddy. So I think that is also a Nigerian tradition. It's part of our culture to honor our parents. It's even very scriptural. Honor for those who are Christians,
Yeah,
honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long.
Honor him
So
by
they are honoring the
doing your appointed
president.
work.
but the president
They have to go and say daddy.
He's the
Oyoyo.
daddy of our nation.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
daddy of our nation. Well, but we
Father
honestly
of the nation.
shouldn't be,
I'm joking,
be given to all of these ceremonies because you are wasting. See, time is money.
Time
So
is-
people don't understand this. You keep doing a lot of things that are immaterial, that are not really significant.
My concern is on the story. I mean, we're still staying with this Nigeria. You can also call in for those who want to drop a comment or 2 on some of the stories we've touched. And of course, our in-house analyst, Abdulateef as well, who has touched on some of these stories. NEC endorses renewed Hope economic plan to fast-track a 1 trillion naira economy.
Yeah.
I just want to ask, I don't know if it's out of the blue, it's also basically out of curiosity. I know the NEC is a composite. You have the
Ministers.
state governors, the ministers, and so on. We've hardly seen any headline that says NEC endorses this, asks presidents to review this, and redraws this, and so on. Why is it that it's always about approval, 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 approval? Is the NEC just always convening to approve?
Well, I wouldn't be too sure of why this is coming at this time, but I'm more interested in the 1 trillion economy. Most times when you hear big numbers, Nigerians are a little skeptical because we've been burnt. We've heard a lot of numbers in the past. What makes it look like there's some level of hope now is that we are seeing significant changes, shifts in the macroeconomics of this country. For example, you look at what is happening in the oil sector. It hasn't been that way in the past. It used to be lip service, but now we are seeing gradual improvement towards 3 million barrels per day. It's significant. It will drop, or it will boost the power of the naira in any case, improve our forex earnings, and give a lot of investors the confidence to come into play. That is just on the side. But for beyond that, NEC is supposed to be that body that oversees something very central to the running of this country. And so if they are approving or if they are applauding the president, well, it's within their rights.
Well, it's within their rights, but then again, let's flip to Daily Trust newspaper. I was thinking that the NEC would solve this issue that we have on the front page.
Okay.
Oh, yes, it's
Daily
screaming.
Daily Trust.
And
Daily Trust
look, it's going to
newspaper.
happen.
Universities
I
head
can
for
put a
strike.
wager on it.
Oh, that's a serious one.
Universities head for strike.
Yeah,
I was expecting that. That's
should
the
have been
headline
a
I was
very
expecting, that
significant
NEC
one.
meets with NEC convenes, agrees on 1 trillion economy, agrees to settle.
With the
So for ASU, it's known to be a tradition for them to go on strike. But my question is, what is ASU asking for? Yesterday we saw the minister on air saying, there
wasn't an agreement.
There wasn't an agreement, and that's a pitiable thing to say because yes, it's a pitiable thing to say because every agreement that has been agreed on by previous government is binding on any future government.
Absolutely.
So even if it is 2009,
But he's saying in 2009, that
yes.
wasn't even an agreement. That's what Dr. Alao says.
Well, whatever it is, as far as I'm concerned, it's an agreement because both parties signed. The one that was not signed, I think, was the 2020 agreement. Whatever was done to make sure that students return to school, lecturers return to school, makes a lot of sense. So you can, sometimes based on trust, you can decide to say, I take you for your word, even without penning it down.
True.
But if you now say that it is because it has not been written, well, probably we'll return to the clips, the videos, and all that. Even if it were not on video, the question is, why do you want lecturers to keep on asking for these things that are legally there?
Following the meeting with the UNILAG chapter of ASU yesterday, it looks like we're heading for strike.
Sure.
Because
Full blown.
he
They
said
had a press
the
conference.
meetings, the series of meetings they've had have been unproductive. And you heard the minister's language, very dismissive. So students, ladies and gentlemen, we hate to break this to you.
Just to
We're heading for
just
strike.
Just to add to that,
It will take a miracle.
Yes,
to
just to
avert
add to that,
strike.
ASU had come out to say, parents, please don't fret, students get ready. They said they have to go into this because if they don't, it's going to ruin the chances of ensuring that every single child will have a good education. And they're saying, parents, just bear with us, that this is going to be a long stretch.
Serious
In other
implications.
words, it's looking like it's a showdown. And I'm worried. I'm worried because, one, there are approvals to fix the airport.
Yeah.
There are approvals to fix the Third Mainland Bridge.
Yes.
There is a new approval to build motor parks in 6 geopolitical zones, which will be gulping over how many trillion?
Absolutely.
But what they are asking for is something that can be done one-off.
The future of
You know what someone said?
Absolutely.
Someone said that the money that should have been allocated to us is what they dashed Falcon and Tigers.
No, it's
Well, these are two different
But-
things. I mean,
Yeah, but priorities, I get.
Yeah, I get that. That's the truth. It's priorities.
Olive she shared this story with us that her first year in university, she spent,
About
there was an
7
ASU
months,
strike,
yeah.
7 months. Olive should have been a son by now, if not
I
because
mean,
of
yes, because of the strike.
the strike.
Every Nigerian goes to school knowing that you are going to spend 4 years plus X. X is undefined. So, and it is because people will have to always go on strike. But we can fix this thing once and for all.
No wonder
And
there are
we don't
approvals for private universities every day. Anyway, they put a moratorium
hold on
it.
that.
And
Okay.
there's an all female university that is coming up soon.
on Taskier University.
Maybe I'll send my daughter to that.
That's
What's
good.
your motivation?
I don't want her to mix with bad boys.
No matter how much
But do you
try.
reckon that when she's out of that university, she's going to mix with the society where there are boys and there are girls?
Yeah, in the
And then what would
society
she
of
do?
New Zealand and Canada. And
And what would she do then?
So how do you manage that?
Remember the theme song?
It's the same
The
society.
theme song that says, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for
You
you?
should be raised in a godly way.
Okay.
All right, let's look at the Guardian newspaper. On the front page of the Guardian, big story there, bad for business. Surge in unruly fan conduct. March day violence plunge. NPFL in crisis. You can see see them there with like a mob. It looks like a mob, really. A photo of people running. Looks like they're holding sticks
After the
there.
These are
Referee.
football hooligans, and football is known as the beautiful game. So
That unites people
why
together.
make
Fans
the
need
beautiful-
to
it's
really
terrible.
put their acts together.
Sometimes I think we just need to improve security. Anywhere there's a crowding, you should have to look at
please, Olive, where did
you
this
know
happen?
managing the crowds. That is the first thing, because sometimes you hear that when Nigerians converge in large numbers like this, you have accidents happening. But in this case, it is fan behavior where they are angry either at the referee or they're angry at the other the other club. Whatever happens,
Just look
we
at
should
that
improve.
picture on the front page.
Yes, we should improve security on the pitch.
Feels so bad for that poor official being physically attacked by a fan.
The
Decisions
fans,
don't always have to go your way.
yeah.
Right. I mean,
Quite barbaric.
so if you read that article, it shows like the different instances
Yeah.
of fan misbehavior. Then you remember the one that happened fans of Paris Saint-Germain when they were looting.
After winning.
Exactly.
I mean, how do you win?
And then you go and
That's,
start
that's why they
burning
will
vehicles.
lose
It
to a
was
club like
terrible.
Chelsea, in the finals.
Anyway, still on the
Anyway,
front
moving
page.
on, please.
Moving
Faster.
on. Sorry, very quickly. Very quickly.
So that we don't talk about other clubs, eh?
Very quickly.
Let's move on.
Ethiopia to rank second in SSA urea production with Dangote's 3 MMT fertilizer plant. Federal government approves lifetime salary for
Yes.
retiring senior
We missed this
officers.
one.
Okay.
Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo in a presentation made this statement and said that the president has approved a lifetime salary for retiring senior officers. So this includes Controller General and the like. So once they are done, they will
Still get the same
they will get salary
benefits.
until they decide to leave the earth, the surface of the earth.
Wow.
Guess what? On the other hand, while we just peep through the shades of your window or climb the fence, there's one Inspector General who is crippled and shouting, "Please pay me my pension of 15 years."
Inspector, rather.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you look to the left, you see an army fighter, if you put it that way, or a lieutenant who has been crippled by trying to save or secure the borders of Nigeria, and is making clear that he hasn't received a dime just to cater to his health.
So sometimes when you see some of these approvals for you begin to wonder what's running the mind of the president. The people who do the real work are those with boots on the ground. And when they complain that they are not being treated fairly, the government needs to do something. I sometimes think that what these guys do is very intentional. You understaff the police, you under-remunerate the army, and you have a country with a ballooning population over 200 million. How do you not recruit more people, offer them better salaries, conditions of service, and ensure that they put in their best?
Instead of giving the head a lifetime
reward. It's a
terrible.
bit
Big
upsetting.
story here
Okay.
that I think we missed earlier. NNCPL vows to revive refineries, shots for $60 billion to expand capacity. We spoke about the refineries earlier. Should they be sold? Are we still pumping money into an unproductive venture?
The first thing is, before it is sold, explain to Nigerians how you spend
They're not
money.
even planning to
Something
sell
to
it.
eat.
They're not
you.
planning
But you
to
have to
sell
sell
it.
it.
They're saying
You have to sell
they
it
need
because
$60 billion.
you have to sell it because it is inefficient. It is a drain pipe consistently, government has shown that it is incapable of running the
Let's
refineries.
trust them with this.
We cannot trust them.
The leadership is different.
There's no way to trust the government. Government has no business in business. We keep telling people
They said
this
they will revive it.
It's just a way of getting money out.
This is a
60 billion you
conversation
can
that we will
give
take
the-
on another day because we have to go on a break. Entertainment is on standby. Thank you so much, Abdulateef, for joining us.
Thank you for
We'll
having me.
discuss the
Abdulateef.
NNPC matter next week.
Thank
But
you
for
for having me.
now, we have entertainment. Stay with us.